Welcome back to another episode of Timeouts with No Stopping Kev. Yeah, I'm not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get straight into it. Over the last few weeks, we've all been watching The Last Dance. And as a result, a lot of people have been talking about Isiah Thomas. Why? Because of the conspiracy. What conspiracy? Well, I'm glad you asked. Isiah Thomas was left off of the 92 Dream Team, and a lot of people blame Michael Jordan. You know who I blame? Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas was a member of the Pistons during the infamous era where they were known as the Bad Boys. They were the tough guys of the NBA, known for their physical play, and they always seemed ready to scrap. Quite frankly, people didn't like the Bad Boys. They were literally the bad boys of the NBA. See what I mean? The biggest reason people believe Isiah Thomas didn't make the Dream Team is because he essentially slapped Jordan in the face. 1991 playoffs, the Bulls were defeating the Detroit Pistons, and before the final buzzer sounded, the Bad Boys decided to take an early exit, walking across the court, crossing by the Bulls bench, and not shaking hands before they exited the court. Now, mind you, 2 years before, Zeke and the Bad Boys went back-to-back, won it all. When they eliminated Mike, he shook hands with the guys.
Holds the Chicago Bulls to 28 of 90, 31%. But Michael Jordan had 31, and he's with Pat O'Brien.
Right. Vern, Michael Jordan here in the midst of the celebration. What are you saying to the other players, Mike?
All you can do is wish them good luck. I mean, we fought hard. They were the better team. We went to a 7-game series. What more can we ask for? We want to be where they are, but we still got to win our turn. We're still trying to improve our team. They were the better team, and they played better today.
So to not shake Mike's hand, questionable to say the least. When asked about it today, Isiah says, hey, Lambert said we're going to exit the floor. We're not going to shake anybody's hands. We're just walking off. They remain unified, and that's what they did. To this day, Isiah says, that's what everybody did. Roll the tape back. I disagree. Fast forward a year to 92, when it came time to select the famous, probably the greatest Olympic team of all time, the 92 Dream Team, Zeke was cut. The guy who was selected instead of Isiah was John Stockton. Great Hall of Fame point guard, definitely a phenomenal floor general, great defender. But at the end of the day, he wasn't Isiah Thomas. If you survey 100 people, 99 of them will probably tell you Isiah was qualified to be on a Dream Team. If we're talking just based off of his basketball abilities, he should have been in that spot. Even many Dream Teamers believe Isiah should have been on that team. But again, why didn't he make the cut? Now, this has been a hotly debated conversation. I've even engaged a little bit here and there with some people. And the reason I believe Isiah didn't make the team was because of fit. Isiah was bad for team culture. No one wanted to play with the head bad boy. Not just MJ, but at the end of the day, the Dream Team probably would have had a different feel if Isiah was a member. The sad thing is, to this day, Isiah Thomas is sad that he wasn't selected to that 92 Dream Team. It's literally the only thing missing from his basketball resume. The only hole. And probably the biggest reason Isiah Thomas is the most underrated point guard in basketball history. Yes, I said it. Isiah Thomas is underrated. And I gotta admit that a guy from my generation, I didn't give Isiah Thomas credit until about 2 weeks ago. But in looking back as I was thinking about it, I'm like, this is why. He isn't a member of that 92 Dream Team, so when you're going back in history, he's not always highlighted as much. Especially when you compare him to MJ, Bird, Magic. Isiah won back-to-back titles. This man doesn't get talked about enough. He was a 2-time NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, 12-time NBA All-Star, 2-time All-Star Game MVP. Like, this man could throw a bounce pass alley-oop from half court. Look it up. Those are just a few things to go along with the rest of his accolades. Don't sleep on Isiah. The thing that stood out to me in all of this, no matter which side you stand on, is that Isiah didn't protect his personal brand. During the reign of the bad boys, Isiah, or probably none of his teammates, anticipated what would be repercussions down the line for their actions. Now, of course, the NBA was in a different era. They definitely played more physical back then. The game was rougher and tougher. But I believe there's a way to play and be just as physical, just as mean, just as tough, but also do it in a friendly, competitive way. I feel like back then, the bad boys really didn't like anyone. Or at least it would seem. Now, we know Isiah and Magic had a great relationship, but we even see those two go at it on the floor. Now, I'm not saying those bouts meant anything, because I know once you're in between those lines, the guy in the other uniform isn't your friend anymore. But because so many people didn't want to play with Isiah, it leads me to believe that it was a little bit more than that. Even if it was friendly competition on the part of the bad boys, it wasn't received well by the rest of the league. A lot of articles have been circulating recently, and many believe Isiah definitely had the talent to be on the team. But other players did speak up, and it seems like the reason was they didn't want to play with a bad boy. So what are the takeaways here? 1. We have to be mindful and forward looking with our actions. Try to think ahead, be deliberate in what you do, and be genuine. Ultimately, before you act, think about possible consequences, good or bad. Number 2, people love saying money, popularity, all those things makes the world go round, but at the end of the day, people make the world go round. Be nice to people. I'm not saying you gotta be friends with everybody and go out of your way, anything like that. No, just don't burn bridges. You don't want one stupid thing you did to come back and bite you in the behind later. Number 3, and this is the most important one. Consider what you want to be known for. When people think of you, what will come to mind? How will they describe you? What's the reputation and legacy you want to leave behind? So at the end of the day, in my opinion, Isiah didn't make the dream team because he didn't protect his personal brand. You don't have to make that same mistake. As always, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you listening. Remember, subscribe to us on YouTube, click the bell so you're notified of when new episodes drop, and also subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, remember, protect your personal brand.